we depend on other countries. If we live to ourselves, I can assure you, we'll die of ourselves. Because if the Russians do nuclear testing and they dump radioactive stuff into the sea, or the Japanese, the world is one big place and the air moves around and the waters move. Therefore, living to yourself, your little isolated colony, your little culture that you want to build, your little city that you want to build of people with like-mindedness, all of that has no basis for survival. Because in the event of catastrophic failure, you will be invaded by the minorities if they don't have food, water, or the wherewithal to live.
All right. Why are we not building a city? I get that question asked a lot too. Some of the ways that I respond is, well, really, at the core of the Zeitgeist movement, it's a social movement. So even if we took everybody right now and dropped them into a city, they wouldn't know what to do with it. They wouldn't know. I think they would feel very uncomfortable because it wouldn't represent the value system that they currently have. They wouldn't understand things not working. Well, for one thing, it wouldn't be a true global resource-based economy because it would still work within a microcosm of scarcity, so it wouldn't really be what we're advocating. And if we were able to get all the technology there, you'd have a lot of people that wouldn't know how to use it, wouldn't know what the purpose of it is for, and trying to get acclimated to a different system, and I think you'd have a lot of problems. And then people would say, well, I'm kind of more comfortable with what I came out of. To have a nonprofit that's geared toward building a city. And they're not the only people that have tried to do this within the movement. And I've been in discussions at length with people in the Ventrilo why I can see why this is not a good idea. But at the same time, I don't want to tell people where they are to not do things like get off the grid or organize to do what they need to do. My big thing is we need to make a clear separation of that is something separate from the movement, and those are people that have different ideas.
There was on the subject of the city. People always email me and they say, "Well, let's build it," and they assume that we're going to all just live there, like it's a commune. Can you really reiterate the importance of getting away from the communal idea and express the reasons for the city?
If you built a commune and you had sustainability and that you grew your own food, you manufactured your own electricity with windmills or solar cells, and that is an attempt for some people to maintain their ability to survive. Actually, Peter, if your commune survived and millions of people were unemployed and hungry, they would invade your commune.
Right.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
You cannot live to yourself. Yes. Not anymore. Those days are gone. People can climb over your wall and take your commune away from you. You have to concern yourself with all nations being well fed and taken care of. As long as you have separate nations, and as long as separate nations control most of the Earth's resources, you're going to have territorial disputes. Think about it. You don't take my word for it. Until we learn to share the Earth's resources and work to improve the lives of all the Earth's people, you don't have a reason for attack.
Yes.
You must do away with the cause of militarism and military attacks or military attempts at bringing democracy to another country. I would say that's false. The real reason we go to other countries is to tap their resources.
So even if we built a nice, comfortable city and the rest of the world was hungry, we'd be invaded. The first city, if we can get it going to be what we want it to be for the Venus Project, would be a research center to promote this direction in every way possible, and it would be a planning center for the next city. And we would be having people there that would be producing in any way possible things to get these ideas out, such as books and videos and movies, to reach all different types of people. And then we'd invite people from all over the world. We'd have a section of it, maybe 1/8 of the city, left for people from all over the world to come and visit and see the city, and then go back, and hopefully they would do one city in their part of the world, and it would gradually spread. The building of the city would be lower cost than any other type city, because it's not built for conspicuous waste. It's built for energy consumption and to save resources and to promote a higher standard of living. And many things would be prefabricated so we can build another city quickly and efficiently.
We're working on a film now showing these new cities. They're immersed in lovely gardens with waterfalls, ponds, lakes, flowers, trees. They're not just machines for living.
Right.
They contain all of the elements of beauty that people would like.
Wonderful.
It will really set a new standard for city design, I think, once we get these animations out there and the new movies about the city.
Wonderful.
For selfishness in the Venus Project, and anyone who thinks they, quote, turned out just fine, but still feels that they are only interested in this path so long as they have to make no personal sacrifices, is clearly not on the same page. This is dangerous to any efforts to start building a city. Anyone who still holds this value system would be highly destructive of the social environment that we need to achieve our goals. People who, quote, don't give a whit about egalitarian values are actually the reason we have this problem in the first place. This is why education and spreading the word is vitally important at this stage. If we don't have a solid foundation of the values needed, and the city, any city that eliminates scarcity will still end up corrupted and destroyed. The Soviet Union is an example of what happens when a community comes together to build a community based on principles they don't truly understand. We have another serious problem in that the maturity level of everyone in the movement is not yet conducive to following this path. Today in the chat room I talked about doing a show about this subject. Someone else took offense to that. He happens to be part of an effort to build a city now. The exchange that went on following this led to some rather negative exchanges. Among them was him telling me, we are going to build it whether you agree with it or not, and when we asked him to provide debate, he said he didn't have to debate it. Eventually another person got involved by telling me to shut up and calling me names and other assorted nonsense. People started to weigh in on both sides. Some people said we should just ignore them, other people said we should drop the subject, etc., etc., etc. Now once again I am going to stay out of any of my personal feelings on the issues presented. However, this again was another serious example of my point being proven for me. If our value structure was sufficient, nobody would be telling anybody to shut up or making statements like, I don't have to debate it. We have a lot of growing up to do within this very movement, and that needs to happen well before we start building anything. If we can't conduct ourselves well in an internet chat room, then our only solution to this sort of behavior is to try to ignore it, and then how are we going to handle important meetings on subjects we need to discuss in the building of a city? We are not building cities that Jacques Fresco has already given. We anticipate a collapse, not an if, a when. Any such communes will immediately be the subject of scrutiny and propaganda as the system tries to save itself from its own shortcomings. After a collapse, any such community will be plundered and destroyed. We cannot make plans for just a few of us. We need them to save everyone, or in the end, we will save no one. This is not to say that there is not a place for research centers and experimental cities. We have to take into account any ill-thought-out project will serve to give ammunition to our opposition, just as many of the failed communes for communism. I will be doing another show on this topic, but it has more that we're not, to sum up now. The reason we're not ready to be building cities is because it is evident that there are a lot of people in this movement who don't get it. There are a lot of people in this movement who can't really conduct themselves outside of the values that they have already been brainwashed to have. And that includes things like making fun of people, intimidating people, insulting people. As long as we have all this stuff, it's going to forever hold us back. And I don't think that we're going to have all of it absolutely conquered before the Venus Project, is realized.